everybody. Thank you for joining. Um, if you're coming into the chat, please remember to hit the like button. Please share the video, and if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's very important that you share the video because right now, in this current climate that we're living in, there is an attack against truth. And, I created this channel to be able to speak the truth and to be able to share the truth with as many people as I can. So it really does help the channel. It does help the channel to grow. It does help to spread the message when you share the video, when you hit the like button, and when you subscribe. So as you all can see in the thumbnail, the main thing that I wanted to discuss this evening is the Black Lives Matter movement. And as you can see in the title, there's a question mark that asks, is the Black Lives Matter movement compromised? And, this is something very hard for me to talk about, simply because of the fact that I know everything that my people have gone through in this country and throughout the world. So, Black Lives Matter is a very strong statement that I would love to be able to support. But when something doesn't make sense to me, I'm the type of person that I really just have to question it. And in a minute, I'll get into, why I have to question the Black Lives Matter movement, and I have to question, if I feel like this movement is going to move us forward as a people. Just a little bit of history on Black Lives Matter, if you're not aware. Black Lives Matter was founded by 3 black women. Let me take a look at my notes. 3 black women, Alicia Garza, Patrice Coolers, and Opal Tometi. And they said that the reason that they started the Black Lives Matter movement was for political will and movement, building a project called Black Lives Matter in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, George Zimmerman. And I'm pretty sure everybody remembers the Trayvon Martin situation and how tragic it was. And from that emerged the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, I'm not here to tear these women down. And, that's not what the message behind this live stream is. But as I stated, I really do have to question what direction the movement is going in, and if the movement is even still being controlled by these 3 women. As we all know, there have been nationwide protests going on all around the country in response to the brutal killing of George Floyd. And Black Lives Matter has come out in full force against the killing. And to be perfectly honest, Black Lives Matter was actually, had a protest in my community maybe about a week and a half or so ago, and no one knew that they were coming. They didn't reach out to the community to say, we'll be in your area, we would like for you all to come out and join us, come, help us rally this cause. Which really got me to thinking, a movement as big as Black Lives Matter, a movement of that caliber, it seems to me like they would be willing to be more interactive with the community on more of a grassroots level. But that's my problem, and that's the issue that I have with movements that get so large and they have so much corporate backing. They have, all of these establishment people supporting them. I believe that, their original intent gets co-opted, and, it begins to lose its fuse, and it just morphs into something else. For example, I would kind of like to liken the Black Lives Matter movement to the Civil Rights movement, because I'm seeing a lot of things that are going on that are eerily similar to the Civil Rights movement. And what I mean by that is, as we all know, when things were almost pretty much said and done, Martin Luther King came out and made a strong statement that said he fears that he had, brought his people into a burning house. And what he meant by that was he didn't realize that the people, the the support, the donors and everybody that came out in support of the civil rights movement, he was unaware at the time that some of those people had a different agenda in mind. On the surface, it seemed like they had full support for the movement, but behind the scenes, they were working on their own private agenda, which actually, turned out to pretty much render the civil rights movement as a failure for Black people. And we just have to be honest about that, because 50, 60 years later, we're still having the same issues. And that is one of my biggest fears with the Black Lives Matter movement. Because honestly, what the Black Lives Matter movement is today, as opposed to what it was when it first emerged, it was a small grassroots movement. That's what we knew it as. And it did seem like those three young ladies had good intent. But what happens is, when you allow someone who has more resources than you to come in and fund your movement, then you, in many ways, you lose control over your message. So, that is one of my biggest fears with the movement, and that is why I have to withdraw support for the movement, because I don't want to see the same thing that happened to, our foreparents happen to us. Because we are, a broken down people, and we've been through so much. Every time something comes along that makes us feel as though change is coming, we kind of let our guard down. We don't really do our homework to see what is the intent behind these movements. And I feel like the fact that we're not really doing enough research on these movements to see what direction they're heading in and what it is that they're doing, we hinder ourselves because we put a big ball of energy into these movements, and it begins to distract us from the things that are really affecting us. Now, police brutality is a huge issue in Black society, but Black Lives Matter has been, regurgitating these same things year after year after year. And my thing of it is that Black Lives Matter 365. And, Black Lives Matter needs to be more active among the people within the community, because a lot of what they're doing is more geared toward building up their organization. As a Black person, I live in a predominantly Black community, and I don't really see Black Lives Matter being that mobile in the community among everyday people. I see a lot of their focus being on what it is that they want to do to build up their organization. And, it's nothing wrong with them wanting to build up their organization, but we have to be very skeptical of a organization of that magnitude that says they want to be on the forefront of Black issues. And a lot of us in Black society, we're sitting back like, where is Black Lives Matter tackling the issues that affect Black people en masse every day within our communities, from poor economics, poor educational systems, all sorts of things that affect Black people on a daily basis. Black Lives Matter, I don't really see them in the community getting, being part of those issues. And another issue that I'm taking with Black Lives Matter is the fact that all across the country, there is complete and total mayhem. I don't know how many people are aware, but right now in the city of Seattle, there are 6 city blocks of land that have been completely taken over, and the police can't even enter that area. I believe that those people that are there who have taken over those city blocks, they go by the name of, I made sure to write it down so I won't forget it, they go by the name of Chaz. Now, Black Lives Matter, they're saying that they don't really have any affiliation with these people, but I haven't really seen them come out to denounce them, and I haven't seen them, make a statement that's saying, we don't support this. So that's another thing that makes me very, very skeptical with Black Lives Matter. Reason being is because when you go to the Black Lives Matter website, one of the main things that they're talking about right now is defunding the police. And I don't think people really realize how detrimental it will be to communities to defund the police. I don't think that that is a solution. I think that what can be done is that the police department can be reformed. The individuals that don't want to go along with doing their job in the proper manner, they need to be removed and replaced with people that will uphold the law and will treat the citizens of the community with respect and do their job in the proper way. Defunding the police or eradicating the police from the community, I feel, will cause total mayhem because, you're leaving the community open to pretty much fend for themselves. And the bottom line about it is that most people within a community, they don't have the resources to really defend that community. So me going to the Black Lives Matter website and seeing that was very startling to me for the simple fact that everything that Black Lives Matter could be tackling right now, all the attention that Black Lives Matter is getting right now, they could be using that attention and that platform to do so much more to bring about real tangible change to Black society. And they're doing these things like calling to defund the police and allowing people to go out there and tear up the streets in the name of Black Lives Matter. And my thing of it is what is that really doing for the Black community? How is that helping us? What tangible resources are we getting from Black Lives Matter honestly going around and being perpetual protesters and continuing to say that they want these things to happen, but the organization has been in place for 7 years and we're not really seeing any of these things materialize into Black society. Another thing with Black Lives Matter that, like I said, makes them eerily similar to what happened in the civil rights movement is because I don't know if people are really aware of this. In the beginning, a lot of people did not support Martin Luther King. They were saying, where did he come from? Why is he here speaking for everybody? We didn't ask for him. And, those people that had legitimate concerns about why he was being propped up as the person that was going to be the voice of Black society, those people were drowned out. And, this is nothing against Martin Luther King because I honestly feel that he did what he felt was necessary and what he felt would bring about change at that time, unbeknownst to the fact that, in the background, the people that were pretending to be with him, these major corporations and these different people, these investors and these philanthropists that claimed that they were with the cause, they were secretly conspiring against him. So I don't put the full blame on him for that. At best, I can say, he was very naive at the time. However, I feel like those people that had those legitimate concerns, who had already had grassroots movements in place and getting things going within Black society that they felt would be more helpful to Black people as far as us deciding what we wanted for us, and then using, real power that was created by us to go and make those demands. With Black Lives Matter, a lot of people feel the same way. They feel like, why is Black Lives Matter being the voice and the face for Black people when honestly, there's a good number of people that are skeptical of the organization and a good number of people that don't really agree with the tactics that are going on right now in the name of Black Lives Matter. Me being one of those people, because I feel like what is going on right now is really not going to end well for Black people or for anyone for that matter, because what we're seeing right now is complete and total chaos. And I feel like the people that control the funding and are able to make the final call on what Black Lives Matter will be doing, I feel like we are being played into their narrative of what they want society to become. one of those people being George Soros. And if you don't know who he is, please do your research on him, because there's a lot of things coming out about George Soros now. And of course, they're being downplayed as conspiracies. But when you do your research on these movements that George Soros has funded, you can see that George Soros and other of these people that come in and invest these political movements, they do that so that they can control the narrative of what the movement will be about. So honestly, I feel like that's why when it comes to Black Lives Movement, Black Lives Matter, it's been kind of stagnant to me, as far as change for Black society. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I don't put this information out here for people to agree with me. If you feel differently, I welcome the contrasting points of view. But what I would do is I would strongly suggest that anything that you're going to put your energy into, and anything that you're going to put your support behind, that you fully understand what it is that you're supporting. Because right now, Black Lives Matter is claiming that they are not a part of the mayhem that is going on in the streets. However, they're not denouncing it. And the same individuals that are out there doing it, they're basically parroting the same things that Black Lives Matter is saying. They're saying they want to defund the police. They're saying they don't want the police there. They're saying that we basically need to dismantle the police. Now, don't get me wrong, the police are not blameless. However, you have to think about what will happen if there is a total collapse of society. What will be the next phase? How will that affect everyone? How will we live our lives at that point if we are living in a lawless society where, people come in and they determine what is going to be the rule of law? That part of it I do not agree with, and I can't stand behind it. Right now I'm going to get into the chat and I'm going to see if there's any comments. Louis Torres says, "Hi, what happened to the audio? Oh, is there a problem with the audio? It sounds fine to me, I'm not sure." Splash Panda Entertainment says defund does not mean abolish. You're absolutely correct. It does not mean abolish. However, when you think about what it is that they're trying to accomplish, especially with these individuals that have already set the tone, saying that we don't need the police, and that's one of the main things that Chaz is, what they're doing in that plot of land that they have taken over in those 6 city blocks. They're not even allowing the police to come in. They're saying that the society can run without the police. However, there's been a lot of information that has come out that organization and those people that are in there, they are in there making people pay them for protection. They're basically extorting people to pay them for protection. So how is what they're doing any better than what they're accusing the police of doing? How are they setting up any type of society? Because they claim that one of their main goals is to show people how society can run without the police. I feel like society needs police. However, society needs police that will follow the law. Just think about it. Do you have the resources to defend an entire community? I think that we can't, we have to stop kidding ourselves. We have to be honest about what society would be like if we don't have the proper structure in order to be able to have the rule of law within our nation. And right now, what those people are doing, whether or not people want to face that, that is completely lawless. They have thrown the police out. They're in there allegedly, which I wholeheartedly feel like they are doing this, because how are they containing order in there? They're making people pay them for protection. And, what happens if something goes down and the police can't get in there? who's going to protect the people that is caught up in that situation? So when Donald Trump says that the mayor needs to regain control of her city, she needs to do that. And I think that people need to stop giving him so much flack for saying that if she does not get control of her city, that he's going to take control of her city. Because I don't understand why people are even allowing, why the mayor in particular would even allow this to happen. Now, if we want to go a little bit deeper into it and we want to explore who stands to gain from a total shutdown of society, I would encourage everyone to do their research on George Soros. And, you know, one thing that I do want to encourage people to do is stop being so easy to fall into the conspiracy theory thing, because a lot of information, good information that is being put out there to the public about things that are really going on in our society is being dismissed as conspiracy theories. And the problem with that is that it's very easy for especially the mainstream media to get up there and say that something is a conspiracy theory without even having to provide evidence against it. They can just, you know, dismiss it as a conspiracy theory. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice when we don't do the research for ourselves. We don't try to seek out truth seekers and people that are willing to tell the truth and, you know, put themselves at risk to get the information out there to the public. Because as I was saying before, right now, there is a war against truth. And, you know, it's very hard for content creators such as myself and many other people that want to build a platform to bring the information to the masses of people, to get people to thinking for themselves. It's very, very hard for us to be able to do that, because there is a total, there is a total all-out war going on right now against getting real, honest information out there to the people. And I think that if we don't do our job to be able to open ourselves up to information that goes outside of the status quo and goes outside of the official story, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. And I think that with Black people in particular, that is what we have been failing to do with these organizations that come out and say that their goal is the advancement of Black people. But when you really get down into what is being done, you don't really see that materializing into anything real for Black society. And that is why I had to begin to kind of step outside of the box and think outside of the box when it came to Black Lives Matter. Because I was saying to myself, you know, all these years of this organization being in place and all of their resources and all of the backing that they have, why haven't we really seen any real tangible change in Black society? When the founders of Black Lives Matter are the ones that stepped up to the plate and decided to take on that task. So I feel like it is our duty and our obligation to call these people to task and ask them, you know, what is your end goal? What is your end game? Like, what are you planning to accomplish out of what it is that you're doing? Because right now, they're running around the streets, hooping and hollering, but at the same time, they're not coming to the people with their agenda. And I feel like if you're not coming to the grassroots, organic people in the community, then why are you there? And are you really there for the community? Are you there to just prop yourself up, get attention, and build up your organization? Or are you really for the people? So, you know, again, I want to encourage everyone, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the movement is, please do your research. Please understand what it is that you are supporting. I think that right now, being associated with Black Lives Matter could end up being very, very dangerous for Black people, because when you think about how strongly the president is speaking against organizations like Black Lives Matter and others that come out in support or you know, want to claim some type of affiliation with Black Lives Matter, these groups are starting to be deemed as terrorist organizations because of the destruction that is going on in cities throughout the nation. And everyone seems to be kind of complacent with that. You have mayors, you have governors, and every other people like that that are not really trying to restore order to the community. And if we want to see real change, and this message is particularly for black people, if we want to see real change come about, we're going to have to be willing to not be afraid to stand up against people that we may deem as more powerful than us. We have to get out here and we have to call these people out. So yes, Black Lives Matter may be a very large organization and may be of a certain caliber, but if they're doing something that we don't agree with and something that makes us skeptical of them, we need to call them out and we need to withdraw support if we don't agree with what is going on. So I'm going to jump back into the comments before I wrap up the live stream. Splash Panda Entertainment says we need policing police because people don't know how to be honest. He also says if good cops watch bad cops do bad things and don't speak up and change the way things are happening, then it makes good cops bad cops too. That statement is not, it's not necessarily untrue. However, we have to think about what it is that we are asking for when we begin to put out the message that the police are not really needed in society. And I think that is something that is very disingenuous because we have to understand how society is structured. The problem really isn't police. You have to go to the root of the issue because the police are just the foot soldiers. The police are just the face of an even bigger problem. If we're not going to deal with the root of the problem, then we'll never get rid of the problem. We need to be confronting the people that have the power to control what police do. If we're not confronting those people, then we're never going to get down to the bottom of what the real issues are. So, like I said before, the police are not blameless. The police need to be held accountable for what they allow themselves to be part of. However, I think that if we, clump every police into the same category, then we're not addressing the real issue. The police department needs a complete and total overhaul. I don't disagree with that. However, what I will say is this. We cannot continue to put out the message that we don't need the police, that somehow defunding the police is going to solve the problem, because defunding the police is not getting to the root of the issue. And we can debate back and forth all day about the police and how the police are the problem, but we're not addressing the handlers of the police, which are the people that have the real power to bring about change if that is what they choose to do. And if those people do not choose to do what is necessary to deal with the policing issue in America, then we need to figure out ways that we can remove those people from their positions of power and restructure society in a way that the bad policing will not even be an issue. Okay, so I don't see any more comments in the chat box. So if no one has anything else that they're going to add to the conversation, I'll go ahead and end the live stream here. Before I go, I just want to encourage everybody, like I said before, know what you're getting yourself into, know what you are supporting, do some research on all these organizations, understand that everything is not what it appears to be on the surface, and don't be afraid to speak the truth, no matter who disagrees with you. Speak the truth, stand by the truth, and always rely on the truth to get you to where it is that you need to be. Again, if you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, share the video, hit the like button, and let's continue to get the truth out there. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Got 2 new